I think it's been really about going straight to the player, straight to the people that will be buying our game, straight to the people that will be loving our game. What do they expect from Housemarque? What do they expect in Saros? And really trying to deliver that for them. I think that's been the big lesson to me, is really always making the why about the player and then leave the how to the team.
You always have to do this exercise of patience when you develop a game, because you start from a white box and nothing looks like a game, nothing moves like a game, nothing feels like a game. And you really have to believe, constantly believe, and lie to yourself when you're playing the game, and just think, okay, this is how it's gonna feel eventually.
When you start going through the timestamps and, mix and matching the takes, you're doing it in a vacuum at that point. The art team is off and they're coming up with what that space is gonna look like. And there's a little bit of anticipation. You're like, man, I hope this performance really works within these criteria of what the space, where they are. Is it a cavern? Is it the passage? You think about this from the conceptual stage. We have an idea of what we want to do, but these things change, they evolve. But then towards the end, once you lock in those pieces, okay, it takes place here. This is the environment that's surrounded by it. Then you start working with the lighting. It elevates the scene. It goes from a flat image to, wow. You work with VFX, the bullets, the particles, the muzzle flashes, everything. It enhances it. You can smell the smoke coming out of the gun's barrel.
I'm a shotgun connoisseur, and shotgun needs to be good. And I think we managed to do fairly awesome shotgun. Hei, minä haluan lyödä klaffin. Mä oon lapsena aina halunnut lyödä klaffin. Anna mulle kerrankin. I always have wanted to do this. And now my childhood dream is filled. So my process is a little bit weird. I usually start modeling in VR by using like VR headset. And that is extremely fast and accurate and really hands-on way to do things, as you basically, it feels almost physical. You can almost pick your gun up from the ground. Designing shotgun was kinda interesting process, as first we did the fast 3D pass, then we kinda animated it in the way that I wanted to see how it would function in real life. It's of course like really fascinating to see the end result coming together when the VFX have been adding all those smooth and juicy particle effects and hearing the awesome sounds from the sound team. Like that is really the thing what makes your own designs come alive.
Player is basically a Formula 1 car that goes at 10,000 miles an hour, and your sprint speed is insane. It's a bit challenging because you want the gameplay to be super visible, so a lot of detail lives on the upper part of the environments. It doesn't live right in the player's side because that's where the gameplay is. So we had to design things so that the detail and the beauty would be lifted. So what I did with the architecture, it was, how do I transform the world into a racetrack? That's why you have so many arches. That's why we picked neoclassical, because it feels good to go under the arches and get to the next one and the next one and the next one. And that's why you have these vertical elements constantly, these lines of uninterrupted architecture, because you want to go fast.
How do we show the ancient culture? Like, they have their own hierarchy. Someone is holding a big weight, others are being crushed by it. Fundamentals at Housemarque is that art is always very deeply involved with gameplay. Like, everything that we do should support gameplay first and foremost. It's all about readability, all about like the maximum impact. You can always try to make things as beautiful as possible and figure out the best composition or find out what is the best lighting and whatnot. But in the end, you are not doing one single image. It's always about, like movement and how the player reacts with the world and, like what do we want to present.
Nothing. Stop here.
The player
has to fight some kind of enemy to give them a challenge. My job is to make enemies that are both frightening, memorable, but also on a mechanical level, they have to challenge the player's skills. To me, the most important aspect of action games is the feeling of fairness. When the player loses, they take damage, they die, they need to feel like they understood what they got wrong that led to that result, right? So what that means is when an enemy does an attack, they have to have some kind of wind up or build up, charging energy, something flashes, there's a sound of something charging, and all those things, they act as information to the player, if they're paying attention, that they know the attack is coming. So an enemy that goes down with no threat is going to be boring, but an enemy that kills you in a way that feels unfair will just be frustrating.
I think this game is the hardest challenge to balance clarity and motion possible, because it's a fast-paced third-person shooter, bullet hell, where you have multiple lighting states, and it's just a really hard challenge. The way that you go about it is that you put everything on the screen and you understand, okay, what is good of this visual soup, and then you start subtracting until you leave on the screen only what is extremely gameplay relevant for readability, agency, split-second decisions, and then the spectacle side of it. What's the minimum amount of elements necessary for this picture to look good, feel good, and play good? Bullet hells, man, they're not easy.
In Saros, one of the key differences that sets the gameplay apart from other games is the shield. This might sound obvious, but if he can absorb every bullet, the game becomes quite trivial. So we had to think of a way to tempt the player to pop their shield and use it in a meaningful way, but at the same time keep enemies able to threaten you. One of the main tools we had were melee attacks. So if you look at our enemies, they do fire a lot of bullets, but they also attack in other ways. So you'll see some enemies that will leap at you with their claws extended. There's enemies that do big slash attacks. There's other enemies that will charge at you with their whole body. And those attacks actually shatter the shield. So one of my tasks was kind of not just thinking of the powers of each enemy individually, but kind of balancing which enemies appear in which biomes to make sure that there's always enemies that can challenge the player in those different ways.
One thing I'm also really proud of is the way we've used our technologies in the game. So we have like really wonderful use of DualSense and the haptics and the triggers, so you can feel waves pan from left to right. You can feel the terminal at the beginning sort of prompt you. You can feel the Eclipse-driven weaponry. And then I'm so proud of our amazing VFX we have in the game. I think it's very true to sort of Housemarque's roots from the finished demo scene of really trying to push graphics. I think players all over the world will get to experience this this hardcore drive towards graphic perfection with this game, and I think everyone will really love it.
Nothing stop you.
PlayStation